Yo, we are live.
What's
It is
up,
town
everybody?
hall time again. Oh, I'm not getting my steps
Hello.
in. I forgot to turn my treadmill on.
Hey.
I don't think I've missed a town hall without walking. Someone
I
can
think you
check.
didn't walk in your last one or the one
Did
before
I
because
not?
your treadmill broke.
Oh, dude, that was wrecked. My Genopets suffered that week. Cool. Welcome, everyone. Town hall is live. Appreciate everyone here and showing up. We've got a new market coming back. I know everyone's probably excited for that one. Bitcoin just topped 70K, and there's a lot in store for us and the Solana ecosystem in this next quarter or next bull market, however long it ends up lasting. Cool. So March 8th, community town hall. We've got 5 Bitcoin baby giveaways. Ordinals making a huge comeback too. Excited about the ordinals. Everything Magic Eden's been doing to crush the ordinal ecosystem.
Oh yeah, they've been crushing.
Crushing the ordinal
Sure.
ecosystem. If you haven't seen Magic Eden's new wallet, I guess I could give them a plug. But it's ordinal Phantom. Ordinal Solana and ETH capable, which is pretty great for playing Genopets. But yeah, cool guys. That said, we're gonna kick it off with the agenda. I'll give us a bit of an intro and things that have been happening most recently. We've got a roadmap update. Ben's got, of course, news on Battle. We've got big updates on tokenomics and one more thing from Albert at the end there, and a special surprise in the middle from Ben too. Next slide, Eunice. Or Ben's driving. Sorry. Intro. Okay, so over the last couple, gosh, it's already March 8th, which is kind of crazy. It's been two and a little bit months of the year. A lot happened through the treasure hunt. Many of you guys were live and present for that. Third edition of Treasure Hunt, Alkali making a comeback. Excited to see how this one played out. I think we ended up with 100 and... Can I get the next slide? Thank you. Oh, I can actually drive these. I think we ended up with 132. I'm forgetting the exact number off the top of my head right now. 32. Alkali organized. Shout out to Ninja on the server. Ninja, I think he was the largest or one of the largest ticket whales. Stacking all that golden Kipu, minted multiple eyes, and then decided to give one away to DNA. DNA community, thank you for participating, and of course Ninja for being the prize donor in the lead up to the town hall and after the treasure hunt. I think we are yet to announce the two winners, or maybe that already went out on the server, but two people will be winning Alkali, Morganize, Plague, and Siggy. Special thanks to, or you can send the thanks to Ninja, but Plague and Siggy will be receiving Alkali Morganize as a result of his graciousness and our excitement for treasure hunt. So yeah, bonus prizes in the works. Okay, so up next, I think it's been an interesting sort of couple. I guess what are we? Almost 2 years into developing, just over 2 years into developing this game, and certainly establishing and maintaining one of the largest, second, third, first largest communities in Solana. Continued support for the ecosystem, continued support from you all, obviously making that possible. But with the roadmap update, let's get into what's coming next.
All
V1.
right.
Yeah, so basically with V1, right, we're looking at kind of what we've been doing, and I know we initially intended to land V1 during the treasure hunt. I think that was a bit aggressive, but also looking back on a lot of the data and things we've been analyzing as its growth accelerated over the past few months, we identified a lot of pain points. Things like, wow, we just had 10,000 new users sign up, but the conversion to actually starting to play and be engaged in Genopets was looking a little bit down. So looking at the overall onboarding experience, Ben's going to take you through, a lot of what we've optimized in V1 and where that's going to land here shortly.
All right, fantastic. So here we go. I have a lot that I'm excited to show you guys. For version 1, being this pretty big moment, we've done a number of sweeping changes across the app to improve communication, usability, accessibility, and aesthetics. Fonts are more legible, buttons are brighter, and we revamped the navigation system to support and organize all of the new features that are going to come out this year, some of which you're going to see today. The version 1 revamp is about rolling out the red carpet for what we expect will be a flood of new players entering the Genoverse. Let me show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, we've brightened all the things up and we've updated the grass and visual elements for performance, overall just making the Genoverse a lot more inviting. We've updated the way Whitaker looks, as you probably noticed, to have a bit more personality and much friendlier, and we gave him a silly voice. We created an overview that explains clearly what the game is in a way that's short and sweet, showcasing what Genopets are, what they do, and what the game is actually about. We've made Summon a bit more clear with its prompts, and overall, we've just made everything a bit snappier. On the registration side, we've also made it so that new players can summon a Genopet before creating an account to get players into the experience as quickly as possible. We've simplified our OTP system as well, so logging in and signing up is much more streamlined now. We've also integrated referral rewards into the onboarding process. In addition, for that onboarding that you just saw, we matched that new onboarding and learning how to use the bank button into the same aesthetic as everything else, and we removed those sort of full screen pop-ups in your face to make the experience a lot more immersive. For the home screen, you're going to see that we've changed the navigation a bit to accommodate and make what's most important to you a bit more accessible. And you can see that the Genopet is a lot more expressive. Conversion of the energy is a lot more visually pleasing. It's not taking over everything in your face. And also the use of energy, extending that forward and making step battles easier to access. So that was a really quick dive into a lot of different things, but I just wanted to keep that short within 2 minutes, but I really look forward to you guys going in there and having a lot of fun exploring all the new changes for yourself.
A lot of that too, obviously, for the existing players in the room, you won't see. That's a big part of why we wanted to share it here. Certainly, as you bring your friends and new people into the game, that's the welcome experience that we're looking at to help improve new users' journey to Genopets and get them into the game quickly and in a fun way. Cool. So, yes, thank you. Something's changed. I don't know. I'm a big fan of the new Whitaker. Even his or her Halo. I don't know if Whitaker has a pronoun. It's Halo. Yeah, the Whitaker now is a plushie I would like to have too. Whitaker clearly a they them. So with that, the biggest question: when V1? We're attending GDC coming up in 2 weeks. We intend to launch V1 on March 20th. That's the Wednesday of that week. V1 will go out, obviously, to all new players and expect, from there, we'll start ramping up a lot of partnerships and marketing to scale the player base. Obviously, further solidifying our place as a top Web3 game in the industry, but certainly in Solana. Solana ecosystem doubling down on, have had a lot of excitement in Solana over the past few months, and we're excited to see where that keeps going. So with that, let's talk about what's coming after V1. I label this our Q2 strategic priorities, just giving a bit of a frame of reference of what we will be focusing on in the next quarter. This obviously, up at the top starts with Battle. Ben will give you more on Battle shortly. I'm going to cover number 2 and 3. How we're bringing more competition and rewards into the game, and of course, marketing and partnerships we're looking at for growth. Challenges and leaderboards, especially with the town hall or the community survey, we saw a lot of feedback around, wanting more competitive aspects to the game, wanting more ways to sort of keep tied in and actually play with other players. Something that the current leaderboard is kind of lacking, to be honest. unless you're a step whale and have an OP level 40, level 42 Genopet, you're not getting anywhere on the current leaderboards. So we've actually revamped the back end of the leaderboard system to be able to leaderboard everything. We're going to have a lot of new ways that you can compete in various activities in the game. Certainly like your streaks, for example, the number of referrals you bring in. We're revamping a lot of that. And actually on the referrals note, looking at on-chain referrals and how we can even give direct rewards that way, so that more food and toys isn't your only bounty for being a active winning player. So yeah, we're planning on recurring challenges, competitions, airdrops, certainly for active players to draw in new users from Web3, because we know that's the meta. And if you've been looking at point systems for any other projects, a lot of the new ones coming up, that's been a lot of the focus and drive for getting new players in. Next one. After ramping up all that, just looking at marketing and partnership opportunities for growth, we'll have a few more announcements coming. I know we landed one recently with Animoca. Some of you saw the Mochaverse partnership go out, integrating with Mocha ID, getting Mochaverse users directly into Genopets. Obviously alignment with Animoca, who's one of our early investors, but as well, their overall ecosystem, which has grown to like 450 games and certainly millions of players. We're looking at getting, the Mocha ecosystem brought into Genopets, which should be an exciting growth opportunity. And again, looking at how that can help scale where we grow. The second one, there's going to be an announcement specifically about this one on Monday for those paying attention. We're working on a partnership with Taki Games, which is created by the founders of Kabam. We're gonna be launching a Genopets match game within their game. So look out for a new way to play with your Genopets in their ecosystem. The Board Button mobile app that they've launched has over 5 million users. We're targeting launching it next month, but we'll have an announcement coming out on Monday about what the game will entail and how that will help drive Genopets' visibility in their ecosystem too. The last one, one more before we switch. The last one is about lore. There's going to be more on lore later. Lots of lore questions came in the early community questions on Discord. Shout out to everybody who had been throwing that in there. But we're going to launch a collaboration with Forecast. You can check out Forecast AI and their partnership with Mad Lads. Mad Lads, obviously, top Solana ecosystem project. They've created a way for us to AI generate lore art and character imagery that we plan to release with a community campaign where you all will be able to create lore imagery for Genopets in our style and actually start to tell the story alongside Genopets, helping us drive kind of the thought process and overall way that we begin to tell the story more. But yeah, more on lore and story in towards the end. Albert's got a surprise on that one. Next up, Ben.
Fantastic. All right, I got something to show you guys. We're going to be bringing Web3 functions into the app, starting with the basics. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys real quick.
Yeah.
Starting with the basics, you will be able to move things on and off chain directly from inside the Genopets app without having to switch over to your desktop or wallet apps. We've always wanted to do this, and we're beginning to be able to do that now. I'm really excited to show you how that is going to work. So over here, you're going to notice that we now have a new Web3 wallet tile that allows you here to connect with your Phantom or Sulfur wallet directly from within the app. Doing so will then give you access to what's in your wallet right here without needing to switch over anywhere else. And from here, really, this sets the foundation for bringing the rest of the most important Web3 features into the game, such as crafting and habitat management. So viewing this contents inside here, once I see these things, I can bring this into the game. I can also move that via my inventory, and I can move things from my inventory into my wallet, just as you can on mainframe. I apologize for my dog. All right, so that's what we've got going on on the Web3 side of things. And yeah, okay, let me pull this back to here. All right. And from here, you're going to be listening to me talk for a little while now. I did want to show you guys some really cool things happening on the battle front. So let me dive over there real quickly. Got a lot of juggling I'm going to be doing today. It's got so much to show you guys.
Ben driving. Obviously, we demoed a bit of this last time in its roughest form, but we're looking at getting the MVP in the hands of the community, DNA and beta testers. But yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, so just to give you guys a little refresher from last time, it's been a little while since that last town hall, but to remind you guys, we showed you that we have been working on this internal testing platform to be able to start seeing how our moves are playing out and what that platform looked like. Here, we've got just like some pets, selecting the moves and what that looks like and how that feels. And where we're at right now is working hard to get battle ready for you guys to play tests. And I want to show you where we're at and what battle might feel like. We're cleaning up the battle platform to be easier for testers to access and understand, building a God mode battle platform that early testers can use to try out every single augment and their moves. So what that kind of looks like is something like this, which is a lot easier to consume. And here we have the versus computer. We can play computer and choose from all available augments. And we're going to create these tooltips for you so you know exactly what to do step by step. And you can choose your moves, get all the information that you need to know about that, and choose the moves, and then have a much clearer console that's telling you what's going on, whose turn it is. Essentially, our objective is to streamline, simplify, and ship. Streamline, making the battle system easy to use and understand, easy for us to iterate on. Simplify, making the game easy to understand and easy to play, and then ship to let you guys get in there and develop your own meta. So in terms of state of the battle, we've been designing and implementing a robust schema that will allow us to quickly make adjustments to the game values as we gather your feedback. So far, just on our own, after some internal playtesting since last time we spoke, we've whittled down some of the complexities of the game to make it flow better and easier to understand. So we've shelved the block mechanic, we've reduced the number of required breakpoints to 3, and we made it possible to earn breakpoints through poking instead of dodging. So we'll soon be completing our version 1 move and rule set to be rolling out very soon. This moveset has some basic status effects that allows you to choose between like buffing your own attack, defense, and speed stats, or nerfing your opponents, or beelining for the big power breakpoint move. What this might look like in the current way it's put together is a battle where you continuously try to paralyze your opponent and then just keep poking them, because each time you poke, you're going to get these breakpoints, and so you can beeline to that breakpoint move and deliver a killer KO hit. So stay tuned for that, and I'm really excited to open that up to our early testers and see what you guys think about that.
One thing to add in here, just to be overtly clear, is we're basically we have built and are building a lot of the plumbing around the way battle will operate, meaning in mainframe on the browser, working with us to identify the stats and what are the moves and do these feel right and are the buffs set up in a good way, doing all that in mainframe at a start on the front end so we can tweak all the values before obviously it moves all into the app. The idea is to open up iteration on the stats and battle system with the early testers, and then of course bring it into the game from there.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, in case anyone might have thought that the bear market might have made us discouraged in any way about continuing to push forward, you would be completely wrong. So we've been so busy, aside from version 1 and working on battle and all these other things, have a little surprise for you, and that is this little bit of something. So technology has been really crazy. We're living a really crazy time. Bull market's back, AI is going nuts, and now augmented reality is a reality. Since the inception of Genopets, our vision and mission has always been to enhance the physical with the digital. It was our ambition to create the coolest possible digital companions. So early on, we bit the bullet and chose to go 3D from the start, and it was really, really hard, and we paid a lot for that. in blood, sweat, and tears. But now that hard work is really just sitting there as value for us to cash in on. So speaking of vision, since all of our assets were already in 3D and in Unity, we were able to pretty effortlessly bring Genopets into the Apple Vision Pro. We saw this as a unique and low-lift opportunity to bring the Genoverse to life, be among the first experiences on the Apple Vision Pro, and possibly get featured and increase exposure. With that, I will let Alkali, who's been spearheading the effort, show you what we've been able to put together in just a few days. I'm really excited for, let me pull up this one.
This is a Genopet. Right here, in your space. Genopets in your real world. Actually, Genopets in any world. Genopets is here for the Apple Vision Pro. You can actually see your Genopet right on the basic habitat. Place it anywhere you want in your space. So whether you're working or not working, you have the opportunity to have your Genopet with you, wherever you are, wherever you want it to be. And that's just the beginning. So we made it right now so that any person who's never had a Genopet before could actually come in and just change out their pet. Now the pet will change every time, but you can log into your actual Genopets account and see your pet be right here in your space. And if you want, we could really show your pet in the space. Full 360. It's crazy. You can actually see a Genopet right here, live. And you can put them anywhere you want. Turn them anywhere you want. This has augments people haven't even seen yet. But this is what the Genopet was always meant to be. Something actually in your own real world. The whole idea is making your Genopet a better companion. We had to do it. It was worth it. Because now you can hang with your buddy and watch Naruto together.
All right. So we noticed that it might have been a little bit blurry for you guys on the stream because the bandwidth might be a little bit taxed, but don't worry, we're going to share this video later for you guys to check out on X and on all of our different channels. You guys can see it in the full glory. Probably don't want to miss out on it. Honestly, it just looks absolutely amazing. Although I'm sure it doesn't look anywhere near as amazing as how it actually looks in the Vision Pro. So just want to share that with you. More than anything, it's just such a cool way to keep our vision alive and make everything, continuing to keep everything really exciting and push towards the future. So with the last, with that being one more thing, there's a last one more thing, just a little bit surprise, is, you know, we worked really hard on making these Genopets look really cool, and for a long time we tried to make them look great with our existing render pipeline, and I just was never quite happy. But now I feel like we've really found something, found a way to get the Genopets to look the way that they deserve to look. So I want to go ahead and just show you really quickly what we've been able to do with our Genopet renders. So we're working on pushing out these Genopet renders to be what will be on the marketplaces to really take our Genopets to the next level with everything else that we're improving so that your Genopets can exist in their full glory on Magic Eden and all the other marketplaces. So thank you guys for listening to me talk all of that time. And now I am going to pass it on to Kevin to talk about some other amazing things.
Awesome. Ben, are you still driving? Sweet.
I am.
Good to see you all. I know it's a little more difficult for all of you to see me right now. I apologize for the poor lighting in my makeshift studio, but regardless, super excited to see you all again. I do not have as many flashy visual things to share as Ben, but I think most of the people on this call will probably find the subject tokenomics pretty interesting in and of itself. So let's get into it. Just before we dive in, this is fine, but just before we dive in, as a quick refresh, our current tokenomics and incentive system debuted in 2022. And since then, it's gone through some modifications and minor updates, but the basic structure hasn't been changed. And we believe that now is the time to address this. We have heard all of the feedback and different observations and insights from the community throughout the past couple of years. The timing wasn't quite right, but I think with V1 now about to hit the general public, and the next phase, the next chapter of the project really upon us, this was absolutely the right time to go back to our tokenomics and incentive structure and make sure that it is in shape to support our ambitious plans for this year. So, in terms of designing the refresh, we basically wanted to identify the guiding principles, the objectives that we wanted to accomplish with the tokenomics revamp, because there's so many ways we could have gone, and there's so many different other examples, analogs, experiments happening in the space around us, right? And so we needed to align around exactly what we wanted to accomplish, and then ensure that the new model supported those objectives. So on the left, you can see our objectives from top to bottom, and these aren't in order of importance, but perhaps in order of chronological urgency. So things that we want to definitely tackle in order before we consider this initiative complete. But one, we definitely needed to update the current model of key, which is unbounded. Essentially, it was exciting enough to serve as a good starting point for that private launch a couple of years ago, and really establish the initial move to earn model. But now we're in a state where inflation is continuing on, and the actual structure behind it is not providing as much value to the ecosystem. So that needs to be updated. 2, aligning the value accrual of gene and key. Gene and key must be aligned, and they have to work in tandem to grow the size and the value of our game ecosystem, of our network. Otherwise, if they're not fully aligned, then we're leaving a lot on the table. We're not being as efficient as we can be, and that's going to cost us when we are trying to grow and put even more users in the top of the funnel. Third, remove barrier of entry for Web3 side of the game. I see a lot of comments in the chat about when are we going to be bringing Web3 features into the game? Can we do crafting? Can we do habitat management? All of those things are things that we desire in the app as well, right? It's just much more enjoyable, frictionless, and fun when it's inside the app. But for that to happen, the underlying tokenomics that support much of the Web3 side of the game needs to be shaped to fit something that suits an in-app experience. Generally speaking, that means more simplified, more reduced, easier to understand, and of course, fully aligned around these objectives we're talking about. And then fourth, definitely it's last but certainly not least, when we look at the trajectory of our journey and we look at this point in time today and we say, from now on is the next chapter, we can't forget all of the players and all the community members and the different stakeholders who brought us to this point. And so whatever refresh that's going to happen with tokenomics also has to ensure that the players who have been with us from day one are fully protected, that they have an advantage as a result of their commitment and their early devotion, and that they are rewarded. What this really means in terms of initiatives, simple to start. 1, qubits and gene, the relationship there, and ensuring that those two currencies work in tandem to support each other within the app. Energy is going to be reworked. We're calling it Energy 2.0. And then finally, harvesting will be reimagined, essentially, to fit the new paradigm and to support this next chapter post V1. Next slide. All right, so the first initiative is the relationship between qubits and gene. Essentially, gene will become the backing currency of qubits within the app. And what this means is that it will connect what is happening in the app, particularly within the shop and in terms of trading volumes, not trading volumes, but purchasing volumes, people wanting to buy items in the app or even buy SFTs from other players within the app. That volume, that activity needs to be connected with gene and needs to support the value accrual of gene. So if we go to the next slide, I can kind of show a diagram that more explicitly lays this out. So on the left, you can see our current system now within the app. When a player buys qubits, our backend collects the USD and buys USDC equivalent to the purchased qubits at a base rate. And then that USDC is utilized to facilitate transactions like paying out third-party sellers or paying the vending machine in terms with regards to items that aren't crafted, like foods and toys. In the new system, essentially, Gene becomes the backing currency for qubits so that anytime there's a qubits related transaction in the app, Gene is bought and utilized to facilitate on the back end as much as possible. What this means is that just at a very simple level, whenever players are buying qubits, they're supporting Gene. Whenever they're spending qubits, they're supporting Gene. And everything is now connected in this virtuous cycle, whereas before qubits were kind of sitting on their own and we were essentially dealing with them through USDC. So this is the first initiative, one of the most important ones, but directly supporting the value accrual of the governance token. All right, Energy 2.0. The goals of the energy rework are right there. We want to align the system more closely with active lifestyle best practices. So for those of you who have been playing the game a lot, you kind of understand what it takes to quote unquote be good at the game or to have a high level pet. It requires a lot of walking and a lot of energy banking, right? And that's fine. It got actually a lot of people walking. When we look at our community survey results, we saw across the board that our game has actually helped players achieve their walking goals. But trying to get 20, 30, 40, 50,000 energy per day wasn't also quite in line with what we wanted in terms of that active lifestyle. So reworking this to make sure that that whatever the game system is also works with real life best practices is definitely a priority. Reduce cheating that can happen via exploitation of the step system. Prevent unbounded energy inflation, because energy is sort of the base currency that point system that feeds things like harvesting and leveling up and all these other game features. We needed to make sure that the inflation there was tight. And then, right now the main way to gain energy is simply by banking steps. And many of you, throughout the years have mentioned that there needs to be more depth in the game. We've created more depth in the game and we will continue to do so. But I think uniting all of those different features like step battle, battle to come, arcade mode, all these different things under the sort of umbrella of these are all the things that you can do to earn energy makes more sense for us moving forward. And it kind of diversifies the play behavior. All right. So in terms of actual changes, here's the list. Number one, energy should be now fully considered as the points system of Genopets. Essentially, energy itself is the underlying sort of pointed.
And I want to provide some background and some context for this line, right? If you have been in Web3 in the last 6 months, you'll realize that whether it's DeFi or SocialFi, friend tech, there's this meta of points. And what we eventually realized was that people really value points because they become something that represent a potential reward. And we already have that, and it's energy. We just need to rework it so that the framework of thinking about energy is like thinking about the point system and all these other protocols and D apps and SocialFi apps. And that is the basis of this change. Please go ahead, Kev.
Exactly. And it's a kind of a subtle change. It's more about how we're viewing it now, because energy itself has sort of fulfilled a lot of that role already. But now when we kind of embrace this view, it opens up a lot of doors. Step efficiency decay will be increased. And what that means is it will become harder to gain energy from banking steps. That might be a bit of a change from how players are playing today, but we think it's a necessary one in order to move towards the kind of gameplay that we envision across the app. So you can still gain a lot of energy from banking steps, and your pet's level and the ability to convert energy at a better clip is still going to be valuable. But we're going to cap it essentially, or make it a little bit more difficult to really extract too much energy out of this feature by adjusting the step efficiency decay. However, to counter that or to counterbalance that, additional energy is now going to be winnable through those leaderboards and different challenges that Jay mentioned at the earlier part of this presentation. We're trying to unite all these features together. So now you may get a little bit less energy, or maybe harder to get as much energy as you used to from banking steps. But all of these other leaderboards are going to reward energy. Challenges can reward energy. Streaks and achievements can reward energy. All of these different features will also provide an additional source of energy. So if you are a player who is really committed to the game and you're interested, you may get less from banking, but if you play all these other things, you'll end up with more energy than you had before relative to everyone else. And now that energy can be spent like points on the various things within the system. And then energy itself, the accrual of energy itself is going to be tracked on the leaderboard. And that one is going to actually provide an opportunity to reward players with premium tokens and premium items. And so now we've kind of created this virtuous system where players can do all these different things for energy. If you do acquire a lot of energy, you unlock even more rewards. Let's keep moving. All right, so harvesting. Obviously, this is a huge elephant in the room. Harvesting has sort of been the underlying anchor behind our whole move to earn model. This needs to be severely reworked just because I think when we initially designed the system, since then, we've learned so much. The world has changed. Different projects have iterated and provided inspiration to us. And we, as I mentioned before, this is the time to rework this so that we can set ourselves up for success going forward. One, incentives have to be directly aligned with value generating actions that we want players to take. The actual emissions must be in sync with that as well. Meaning right now, if you just have a habitat, you just kind of utilize it, you can always get a certain amount of key. That worked to start, but I think moving forward, we want all of these things to be aligned so that the actual emissions themselves are dynamic to how much value is being added to the network. Overall, the system has to be simplified because if we want tons of new users coming in through the top of the funnel, and if we're going to be putting things like crafting and habitat management in the app, it just won't work if it's still the current system with all of the different rules and parameters. And then finally, the individual's share of the rewards should be primarily, not completely, but primarily determined by how much they have put into the network themselves as a committed player and participant. What this actually means for technical changes. So harvesting is no longer going to take place purely on a per habitat basis. So just because you have a habitat doesn't mean that you're guaranteed 30 key or 40 key per day if you put in the right amount of energy. That system lends itself to sort of unbounded inflation because every habitat is infinitely adding more key to the system and actually diluting all the other holders who came before them. Instead, we're approaching it from this idea of a daily pool of total harvestable key. And that the size of that pool is going to be a direct function of the sum of all the active habitat levels. Now, you might be wondering, why active habitat levels? Well, the way we're thinking about it is that the sum of the levels actually is a good proxy for how many active habitat, how many players have actually put gene into the game in the form of a terraformed habitat and then actually upgraded it. So the more habitats there are and the higher level they are, that's a strong signal to us that players are putting more into the game. They're becoming more invested in the game and they care about the earning side of the game. That naturally means that we should increase token emissions, right? We shouldn't just be giving out random token emissions regardless of what's happening on the habitat side. We need token emissions to step up or step down depending on that level of activity. So that's where the total harvestable key and it being a function of all the active habitat levels comes from. Now, in addition to that, habitat maintenance is going to be simplified. No more repair, lifespan, durability, decay. Instead, what denotes an active habitat is whether it has gene stored inside of it. Stored gene can be withdrawn. But if you want your habitat to be active and to participate in harvesting, it will need some amount of gene to be stored inside of it. And the more gene that's stored inside of it, the more potent it becomes. Because ultimately, your individual share of that total daily harvestable pool is going to be based on a weighting of your own habitat's level, as well as how much gene is stored inside of it versus the weighting of the entire system at that time. So next slide. Here you can kind of see how this would actually work on a day-to-day basis. So at midnight UTC every game date, the backend program can take a snapshot and calculate how much how many active habitats are in the system today and what their levels are, right? How we've got X number of habitats and they're all varying levels. This is where we're at. Based on that snapshot, it will calculate what the total harvestable pool should be at a base rate of some amount of key per active habitat level summed up. And then once that calculation has been made, the total harvestable key becomes accessible. And then individual habitats can claim their share using energy in the same mechanic that we're all used to. But now your share of that pool can be a little bit different depending on how strong your own habitat is and how much gene you've put into it. I'll pause there. Albert, is there anything you wanted to add, or we can keep going?
Yeah, let's keep going. I think one of the key things here is that we wanted to really, really simplify this. We created a system in 2022 that we spent a lot of time modeling, but I think it's very deterring to new players coming in. There's a lot to read, and it turned out to be something that only like the most hardcore players were able to understand. One of the key factors in doing this, besides making the economy more balanced, is what we want to do to allow everybody to participate in the economy. And this paves the way for harvesting and crafting and everything to come inside the mobile app in the future. So if that's the end of that section, I wanted to, can we go, I'll go back. So this whole tokenomics revamp will be presented as a DNA proposal within the next 2 days. One of the things that I know in the last town hall, we said that we were going to propose it after that town hall in a few weeks. What ended up happening was that we decided to do a much bigger revamp because after some internal discussions, we realized that the fundamental system needs to be built from the ground up again. And we wanted to imagine what would the system be like if we had all the knowledge that we have today and redesign the system from scratch. And this is kind of like the answer. So the timeline is this. After we propose it on DNA, we're going to have until the end of the month to discuss some of the details, some of the numbers. We are 90% there. This model and this whole new system, a mechanic, we've already done 90% of the work. We want the community to help us figure out the last 10%, which is the numbers of how everything works. And we want to hear from you because you guys are the biggest users of habitats and everything. So I look forward to doing that. And once we have that all finalized, we want to build this as fast as possible. We've designed this in a way where all the rework wouldn't take too much effort on the dev side.
Albert, Kevin, can we answer this one real quick? I know we're gonna do questions at the end too, but I think this is a good point of clarification.
Yeah. So a couple things. I think generally speaking, I don't know if it will reward whales or not, but if we're talking about whether this system will only reward players who are spending a ton and have committed a lot to the project, I think it's a little more nuanced than that. For one, and I'll start with this secondary question around, is there a cap for a one habitat set? Part of the simplification is that we are going to get rid of sub-habitats and connectivity of habitats. Instead, if you have sub-habitats, the levels of those sub-habitats will be added to your main habitat, and you will have a new habitat whose level is the sum of all of those connected habitats. So we are simplifying it. Even a whale will essentially have one habitat. They won't have different connected habitats. In response, we're going to increase the number of levels so that each habitat has more room to grow in terms of becoming more powerful. Now, I think some of this is asking, okay, well, is this just creating a system where if I play, I have no shot, and there's nothing else I can do? I think it's a bit of a incorrect frame because, for one, right now the biggest power users and biggest holders of habitats are those who are already in the community, like players who have been with us for a long time. This system does give those players an advantage because they have built up habitats with higher levels over time. They've collected more gene over time, and they have pets that are stronger over time. That's part of the early adopter advantage we want to protect. And that's what part of what we want to ensure that our existing players have going into, the new chapter of Genopets. Could a new whale suddenly appear after V1 and buy up all the habitats in existence and put in 1 million gene? It's possible, but you as early adopters who have already engaged in the system stand to benefit from that sort of action if that happens. So I wouldn't worry so much about, oh, is this game now rigged against me? This game was built first, the new refresh was built first and foremost among the objectives listed to protect early adopter advantage, but also pave the way for more sustainable tokenomics growth in the future as we get new players coming in.
Cool. Albert, back to you.
All right, sounds good. So let's keep it moving. We will answer more questions in a Q&A session. And let's go to the next part. All right, so we're calling the next phase of Genopets Reborn. As we've mentioned multiple times in this call, the bull market is back. And we spent 2022 and 2023 really polishing the Web3 invisible experience for the mobile app. And as a result, we believe, and we've been told many times, that we have one of the sleekest applications in the industry. So the past quarter was cleaning house to prepare for new guests. And now it's time for us to dial up the Web3 part of the game and really open up the floodgates. It starts with a tokenomics revamp, driving more direct utility to Gene. And that's what we mentioned before. We simplify the earning loop, driving token usage more directly with in-app player actions. In 2021, we came into the market as one of the top move to earn projects. Our vision has always been to facilitate an active lifestyle and blending the physical world with the digital world. We reward real life actions. So now, in 2024, we are doubling down on this. With this new progress in AI, we will be using generative AI to create a game experience that blends the physical world with the digital world. We call this adventure mode. Now, everybody's been asking, when's lore coming? When are we doing open world? Now, click into the new hex and you can explore Esoterra, the world of Genopets on foot using GPS. The Genoverse is a layer on top of the real world. It starts out completely dark. As you, the player, walks around the real world, you discover new places in the Genoverse. Each place you discover, you can scan with your camera. And using generative AI, it transforms your location picture into the Genoverse version. At the same time, you learn about the narrative of the place, and you earn rewards in both energy and items. The entire player base can now take part in a multiplayer effort to discover the story of the Genoverse. You can call this player discovered lore, if you will. Player personality data defines a story. We feed it to the base model, and we feed a bunch of the lore that we have already written into the base model. But your story is told by your own goals. Now, more story and more details will be revealed in the next town hall. This is adventure mode.
We need like some, on Twitter Spaces they have like the clapping and the cheering like soundboard things. We're gonna have to get that.
I'll just say, and then everyone clapped.
And then everyone clapped.
All right.
Thank
Jay,
you, Albert. That was your obviously the teams, but there's a lot of brilliance going into that design and system. Lore has been one of the longest asked things. Thinking about it, like going and writing a bunch of lore is definitely a not the way to do it kind of move, and I'm really excited to see how this unfolds. Definitely open to feedback and discussion, and we'll keep sharing more as we make progress there. Look back at the Q2 priorities and know that there are some big milestones we need to land before we get to that piece in particular around adventure mode, but it is definitely top of mind and in progress for us. With the time that we have remaining, let's visit some questions, give away some ordinals, and see what see what else everyone has coming up. Do we actually? I see some coming in here, but yeah, next slide. Oh, I forgot I can do that myself. Awesome. Okay. At the top, let's just do the giveaways that we've already, or confirm the giveaways that we've already had. Plague and Siggy, you guys won the Ninja Prize. I'm calling it the Ninja Prize now. The Alkali Morganize that we promised to give away to DNA members exclusively. Look out for that one. Eunice will DM you to get your Morganize. Then, of course, also at the top, there were 5 Bitcoin babies to give away. One went out on Twitter to Sheesh44, Escalope Merengues Samurai, I think is your Discord. Look out for Eunice coming after you. That was on Twitter for helping us spread the word ahead of time. And then one also had to go to one of our favorite questions that came through on Discord ahead of time. I'm going back to, I guess, the man of the hour. Ninja appreciated this question. I think it's wrapped in a lot of tokenomic concerns as well as just, future growth of the game. The question is, and I wish we could bring it up, but it's one that came over Discord, so we can't put it on the screen. It's about gene staking. What happens when the gene staking period's over? Is there another pool? How do we use our voting weight for holding gene? All these sorts of things, I think, has come up in governance conversations. Albert, you want to touch on this one a bit?
Yeah, let me just hold on. You're saying what's going to happen to staking, right?
Yeah, what's going to happen with staking? Oh, are you trying to? Oh, there you go.
So I'm just gonna show it on the screen. So this is the question I'm gonna answer. This is from Discord. What's going to happen to gene staking? As you know, we still have about 2 years left in the staking rewards, but it's dwindling down because if you remember, when we introduced staking in 2022, we had a curve that of rewards that started out very high in the beginning to reward early adopters and then starts tapering down. So within the next 2 years, you're going to start seeing it taper towards zero. We will probably create another staking reward pool, but this time it will be to reward liquidity pool providers, mainly because the early days of just locking up single-sided tokens for benefits, that's over now. Gene is now a valuable commodity that the protocol should only give out for actions that benefit the community in general. So one of those for staking, if you are going to stake something, it would be to provide liquidity for the Gene token, because that's a really important part of DeFi and token trading volume. All right, so that's the answer for that question. Jay, back to you.
Cool. Also emphasizing that Gene, just in general, Gene being used as part of the habitat learning process as well as somewhere else you can store Gene and look at.
Yep. So I forgot to mention that. Thank you, Jay. So if you look at the tokenomics revamp, and everybody now knows this, you can also store your Gene inside your habitat in order to earn more key tokens. The specifics of which would be discussed in Discord, but the overarching theme is this: there's going to be more utility for the Gene token. I mean, even we're going to make qubits backed by Gene as well. So there are plenty of use cases for Gene tokens. All right.
Awesome. Thank you. So that is our third Bitcoin baby winner. We have 2 more to give out. Oh, wait, sorry, that's only 2. Third one, I guess, we'll go to a next question. Oh, I guess we should reward Chris. Chris, for your earlier question we answered around the tokenomics revamp in the whales and just sort of how that system really doubles down on, or the intention of the design of the tokenomics revamp is really to double down on rewarding early players and simplifying. So you will be the third live winner. Next question, let's get to Oh, I liked this one as well. Phoebe came at us with a question around augments and the fact that there's like season 0, season 1, what's coming up with next seasons, how are we balancing all the augments in battle, and will there still be sort of demand and benefits for future augments or previous augments, or do they get replaced by new augments? And specifically that there's no set bonuses announced yet for the season 0 augments. I think if we could just revisit some of the stuff around battle and stats, Kevin or Ben, I think it would help make this one a little more interesting.
Can you type the question out?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Oh, I thought he was going to type out the question.
I'm getting there.
It's kind of open-ended. But yeah, okay. So look, season 0 augments are simply season 0 because they were the first craftable augments that we released, right? There's nothing inherently superior about season 1 augments beyond the fact that some of them have style set bonuses. That does not mean that season 0 augments cannot be part of style set bonuses down the line. For example, a style set is essentially created whenever different parts are linked by the same style. So we've kept the option of being able to introduce new style sets down the line that involve season 0 augments as well. In terms of battle moves, season 0 augments and season 1 augments, at least in terms of our internal planning, there's nothing differentiating them on a seasonal basis by power. For example, there's plenty of great season 1 augments with strong battle moves. The strongest, I think, the strongest augment right now in terms of testing is probably the season 0 legendary, the Pharaoh ears, with one of the most devastating paralyzed attacks. So there's nothing inherently better or worse about season 1 and season 0. And honestly, moving forward, as we hopefully introduce more seasons, the intention is not to make previous seasons obsolete or useless with the introduction of new seasons. It's to have more of a seasonal cycle that allows us to experiment with different metas, different promotions, and different, honestly, community objectives within each season. But as it relates to the augments and their power and their efficiency in battle, there's nothing to really worry about there in terms of one season is so much better than the other, or one season has a feature that the other one doesn't. Because the idea is to continuously bring these augments back in and out of play with different twists depending on the season itself.
Cool. Yeah, I wanted to pin this one because it's amazing, Jefferson, that you remember this, because I don't remember the last time. You've been here for a long time if you remember that, because that's from way, way, way back in the day, and that was a pretty obscure detail about our original vision for how we were going to do World. So shout out to you for calling that out. There's definitely within our intention, and hopefully we can find a way to work that in a way that makes sense for the business and the incentives. But yeah, that's something that we'd like to do. So
this is for adventure mode, right? We were talking about how the
Correct.
world had different zones based on elements and applying elements.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, this was. I almost didn't remember that. That's a super OG.
Yeah,
he deserves the prize for sure.
Yeah, he deserves something for that. That's a really good job, man.
Jefferson, find us on Discord and make sure we can get you your prize. Thank you and congrats. That puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have a final one coming up. I'm looking through the questions that are just coming in live right now. I do have one before that I'm interested in answering. What about the referral system? You guys see anything, or I'm going to jump up with a random one? This will be our final winner. Okay. You know what? I'm going to do this one. It just came in. Lysimer? I don't know you particularly. Maybe I do. I'm sorry. Or I know you by a different name on Discord. I'm going to take this one because I did touch on it earlier around the leaderboards and challenges. And in the V1 update, there will be an enhancement to the referral system as well. A couple things off the top. First, one, you're already our partner. Appreciate you being here and being in the community. The big thing related to this is in V1, when you refer, you will now be gifting the recipients a welcome pack of food and toys and other items. And in fact, we'll be able to swap that out with other on-chain items in the future too. It doesn't just have to be food and toys. And you yourself will also receive a meal when you bring someone new into the game. That's just sort of the basic, like Uber style, refer someone, give them something, you get something. So that will go live in V1. And then beyond that, in reference to the challenges and leaderboards, looking at a leaderboard, a referral leaderboard, as well as an upcoming partnership with BuddyLink and the Solana Foundation to reward on-chain as well. So we'll be able to look at on-chain referrals, and driving on-chain action within Genopets is something you'd be able to refer and earn referral bonuses for as well. Cool. Thank you, Lysimer. Find us on Discord. You will be our final winner. I have a handful of just speed round questions. I know we're up at the top here, but really quickly, just to touch on a few other things. Are we going to see Blink again? JF asked us in Discord, really liked that one. And yes, you definitely will see Blink again. We love Blink a lot. Blink's coming to the app. Blink will be the prize redemption master in the future of the game. So look forward to more Blink as we keep growing those incentives. There are a lot of lore questions that I think we covered. And yeah.
I just realized Jefferson is just Jax. It's Jaxie. Like he's
I know Jaxie. I didn't know your name was Jefferson.
I didn't realize Jefferson is just Jackson.
Yeah.
If you have any lore questions you want to just ask about, find me in Discord and we'll talk about it there.
Definitely. Cool. I'll just give a few shout outs to other people. Malta asked about IRL map and IRL gaming. I feel like you were reading our notes ahead of the town hall and saw that one coming. Big Steel Squid also asked about integrating habitats into the game more deeply and how we get that Web3 side of the game and app and the priorities there. We definitely covered that one too. I think in a big picture, I just want to say in closing, like, thank you everyone for being here. And the fact that a lot of the community questions asked ahead of time ended up being what we wanted to cover today kind of negated a bunch of answering a lot of questions, but hopefully everyone's walking away from this feeling like they've heard something new and exciting. They can't wait for adventure mode. They're ready for battle testing. And we'll see you on the server to talk about that big tokenomics revamp coming. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Another big town hall. Excited for V1, and we'll see you soon.